Right, morning everybody. We're talking about valuations today, and as I mentioned, the valuation is I'm not talking about the valuation tool that we've got per se, which is one you can go look at it on AntLogic. It's a whole demonstration there on how to use it. I'm just talking in sort of theoretically about valuations. I've had quite a lot of queries on it, and the agents who are battling to sell, nearly every time that there's a problem with the sale, and I'm not saying problem trying to get a client to buy, let's put it that way. It's normally always stemming from an incorrect pricing. Okay, so you got to come from the position that every property's got a buyer. It doesn't matter what you think about it. Okay, it's a fact like a cow. If it's a property, it can sell. Now, the only mitigating factor is probably going to be price. Everything else actually becomes irrelevant. Because if the building is actually burned down and I could get it for R1, I would buy it. It doesn't matter where it is. Okay, so it's always about price. So that's the first thing to get into your head. So why do we do valuations? Has anybody got any idea? What is this thing about a valuation? Anybody got a thought on it? It's not a trick question. There's no answer to it. I actually just want a sip of tea. Okay, so no, the truth about valuations is that you need to pin it, the valuation is no purpose at all, because the value, what you're trying to do is pin a logical point in the seller's brain. Okay, what you're actually trying to do is bring the seller to earth. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to find an understanding between you and the seller about what a potential value can be. Because it's very difficult, and the most difficult, if you speak to agents, the most difficult sale is when the seller says, yeah, I'm not really a seller, but bring me an offer and I'll look at it. And you say, well, what price? No, bring it, I'll have a look. Now, you know, it's very difficult. So R1, R1 million, you know, what is this guy talking about? And that's very difficult. And when you try and pitch that to a buyer, and if you say to a buyer, no, put in an offer, your offer, they won't understand what you say. You've got to give them a price. So that's the purpose of the value. Now, who decides on value? Somebody's got to know this. How many, let's start it the other way around. How many values are there? You must have heard this question before. Alan Bell's online. I think he'll definitely get it right because he answered it right last time. How many values are there on a property? Put up your fingers if you think there's one value. City says there's 3. And Suta's just done a logbook, so she knows stuff, bro. Watch out. Yeah, 3. This is more than 3. Province is 3. Jacques not talking. Jessica, put your hand up. How many do you think there are? Jessica waves. That's like what? 10. Okay. So how many values are there to a property? Anybody that says 3, you're not quite right. Double it. It's maybe 6. Who says there's 6? Okay, let's not tease you anymore. Okay, so what are these values? The first value is what the buyer wants. I value my property at R1 million. The next one is what the seller, the buyer, he wants to pay. I will pay R1 million. The next one is what the seller says. I want R1 million. I want 2 million. What's the next value? So you do the deal. The bank valuator walks in and says, I think it's worth 500. What's the other value? Insurance. What's it insured for? 300 grand. What's the replacement value? Huh? What's the replacement value? Oh, that's 2 million rand. What other values are there? What does the ex-wife think it's worth? 9 million rand, because that's what she's getting from the settlement. Okay, so then we've got 6 values without even trying. Who's another value? Come, what's one I have forgotten out?
Municipal value.
Correct. Catherine, I can't hear you.
A municipal value.
Municipal value, yes, well done. Yeah, and municipal value is another one. Okay, so and then there's the Lightstone average property sold in the area, and then there's the Lightstone actual professional valuation that you can pay for that value that property. And then there's not only Lightstone, there's CMA, there's virtual agent, there's a whole host of those things. So there are many values. But what's the actual value of a property? The real one on this day. It's when a willing buyer meets a willing seller who are able and willing to pay. And on transfer, that is the value at that time. And if you want to experience a reality crash, is when you buy a property, and it's happened a number of times in my experience, where a person buys a property and then they go, oh, listen, my flipping partner died, or I've got a new job, I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to sell it for, you know, I paid 2 million rand, let's get 2.5 for it. And you're going, what? No, that's not right. You're not getting 2.5, now you're getting 1.5. But the market can't have changed. I've just bought it. And I bought it for 2 million rand, and I paid transfer costs and legal fees, and it came to 2,350, and I'm still put the commission on top. Doesn't work like that, man. Okay, so property is a long cycle, so it takes quite a while to get value. Right. So that's the first thing. The third thing, I mean, the other thing is, what happens if you get this wrong? Okay, so this is where I think guys are battling now. My feeling is that if you are not very confident in price, you need to be very careful of what you say and what you do about value. Because once you put a figure in somebody's head, okay, I will never remember the people that offered me bad numbers for my car, but I will remember the one that offered me 35,000 rand for my little Datsun that was worth 1,000 rand. That is my hero. I love him. So any agent that walks in and says this property is worth 3 million rand, that seller is going to remember forever, even if that person doesn't sell it. Yeah, well, you know, I got 1.5 from Anton, but yes, that one oak said he could get me 3. Now, there's a big difference between 1.5 from Anton and some oak who said he could get me 3. That he said he could get me, that's a flipping long day that on a horse. You know, it's 3 days on a horse. Okay, so you've got to pin the reality, and the way we do that is as follows. I'm going to share my screen with you. Just ask questions, because it's going to be a bit rambly on account of, okay, so you can see that. Okay, this is one of the aspects of the value of the property. The seller's motivation to sell. What is his motivation? What does he expect? And what is his personal experience? These things are the steps that I use. This is a different, this is a listing thing we've done before. Okay, so this is you getting you getting information. So as an agent, when you go and see somebody, I'd like you to come and sell my property, I'd like you to give me a valuation. What you do is these things. You need to find stuff out first. So what you don't do is walk in there and say to the guy, okay, I think it's worth 3 million rand. That's quite the wrong thing to say. The right thing to say is, why are you selling? Before you even talk about the property. Have you sold before? Or what kind of money are you expecting? And the reason that you ask that is because you need to understand where their mind's at, okay? And when the guy says he wants 2 million rand, put your commission on top, and then you can sell it. Then it's a completely different discussion. So guys, especially the interns, when somebody says to you, I want 2 million rand, you put your commission on top, you need to talk to Linda and I immediately, because that's no longer a seller. That there is a fishing expedition, and it's rubbish. You're wasting your time. Okay, because the first question I always ask people is, where do you get your value from? You know, how did you get to 2 million rand? And then he'll tell you, well, my buddy Cully, who lives down the road here, sold his house for 2 million rand, and my house is much better than Cully's house. And so, well, when did he sell it? No, about 5 years ago. Well, like, that's not based in reality. And we get it all the time. This is what people don't forget, big prices. They never remembered Tanny Anna, who lived across the road, who sold for 750,000 rand. They've forgotten completely about that one. And it's our job to bring them the sweet truth. Okay, and we do this via the CMA. So you're trying to find out why they're selling. And it's because people that are going overseas, people that are getting divorced, people that have got death in their family, departure, decline, all of these things are going to put pressure on the price. And it's going to be to your advantage or disadvantage, because you're going to be able to pin it in reality easily, or you're going to have a massive fight. So if you're hired by the wife, the estranged wife who's getting a divorce settlement, and she's appointing the she's appointing the agent to sell, you better believe that she's going to want a very big number for that property, because she wants the maximum benefit out of it. That's different to somebody who's already in Australia that has to sell. Expectations, that's part of that, and what is past experience. If a person's got no experience in selling, It's not your job to laugh at them and just walk away shaking your head. It's your job to teach them about it. And you can say to them, look, the way we do pricing is not based on what I think. It's based on the data that we can accumulate from the Lightstone report. And we do a Lightstone report, and that's in another training session. We look at the properties are similar in size, similar in effect, and similarly sort of comported. And if they are similar, then they'll have a similar price at the same within the same time period. So that's what we do as a living. That's the only way you get a price. Okay. So I don't really want to go through the rest of this slide too much. Only to say that you will do a lot better as an agent when you're walking in to do a valuation if you walk in there with something in your hand. Okay, you've got to be a really professional agent who's been in the job for a long time to be able to swing into somebody's house, have a look around and say it's worth 1.5 million rand. You can do that if you're an area expert who's been in the area for 5 years. Now, I'm pretty sure a guy like Rob Pound can do that in his area because he's been there a long time. He's probably sold most of those houses more than once. Okay, he understands the area. For me, however, new to Joburg, I've only been here for 6 years. You know, for me, I have to pay a little bit more attention. So you walk in there with a clipboard, with a listing sheet. You know this listing sheet here? This thing here, let me show you it. Yeah, listing card. You put the names, the dates, the seller's name, and it's got lovely questions on here that will remind you. And then you get to ask the owner, what's the water and lights here? What's the levies? Do you have the rates account here? How big is the stand? Do you, why are you selling? Because all of those things, and if you're asking it off a form, people typically will answer it. If you're just banging out questions and they don't know why you want to ask it. But if they ask you, why do you want to know the price? Well, it's on the form. Oh, okay, it's like stupid, but just do it. So take that kind of stuff with you. Okay, you'll have a camera, you'll have business cards, you'll have a mandate, all of those things. I mean, the person says, so how much is it worth? The right answer is saying, I don't know. And the reason I don't know is because I need to do a proper CMA. I need to sit down and apply my mind. And if you're an intern, you say, I'm going to need to talk to my mentor, because you may not give a value as an intern without your mentor's assistance. It nullifies the whole commission structure. Just bear that in mind. Okay, so that's the end of that one. I'm now going to show you this one. Pretty, eh? Wow. Can you still see this one? Okay. Now, just on valuation, and I did warn you that this is going to be a little bit disjointed because I'm not trying to do a valuation here, but I'm trying to just show you, I'm trying to help the current batch of agents. When you approach a property and the guy's telling you stuff, you need to start asserting your authority. It doesn't matter how long you've been in this business for. If you joined me on the first day and previously you were a kindergarten teacher, you still got more experience than a man who's an investor with 30 houses. Now, how can I say that? Well, a man who's got 30 houses isn't an estate agent. Okay, so you have more experience than him in one day than he has in his whole life. Now, what that implies, though, is that you can use the knowledge and the backup and the property codes of systems, the mandates, your mentors, Linda and I, to help you with your job. Okay, you've got to be confident in what you do. Now, confidence does not come from saying stupid stuff. And if you ever want to know about confidence and stupid stuff, speak to a doctor. Doctors won't tell you anything, man. They say, how am I? No, I think you look okay. Is it going to be okay? Well, we don't know. We won't know until we get the test results. But don't you think I look okay? Anton, you look fantastic, but that's got nothing to do with whether you're going to be okay or not. You might drop dead walking out, but please just pay first and then walk out. So it's not about what you know, it's about how you say it. And very experienced people, you talk to a nuclear physicist, a doctor, an attorney, they will not give you an answer on the fly. They'll say, I will answer you, I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to come back to you. And you have to have that mindset as an agent. Okay, you've got to be careful. Right. Remember now, when you walk into that property and the guy says, okay, so what's my house worth? Okay, hang on a second. I just want to look around and make sure. What are you actually looking for? Okay, somebody must mute their mic, please. That's gone. Okay. Why do you walk around looking at a property? Why would I walk around a 3-bedroom house in Ferndale to look at it? Has anybody got an idea? I don't know either. Why? Because all houses in Ferndale look the same. They've all got 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 2 garages, and a pool, and a fence. So what's the point of walking around it? There actually isn't the point, and that's why banks do desktop valuations, because there's no point to walking around it. What we're trying to do, though, is we're trying to have a discussion with the owner, and we're trying to form a relationship, and we're trying to understand what is abnormal. So if you walk into that place and they've got a 40-foot jacuzzi in the main lounge, that's important to know, because that's a different type of scenario, and that will add, or it probably won't add value, it will detract value. So when you go to a person's house and they say, oh, it's a lovely kitchen, magnificent kitchen, I remodeled it myself, have a look, it's purple and gold. Then you must contain your excitement, and you go to the guy and go, wow, that's a very bright kitchen. There's a lot of, I love it, of course, but I don't know that everybody will like it. So we need to, don't paint it gold, and don't do silver and purple, because it's not a common thing. So we go into houses to look for exceptions, and we go in to look for problems. So if the roof's falling down, the major cracks in the walls, are the floors lifting, does it look like there's damp? All of those things, are there structural problems? So when you do your valuation to the guy, you can say, look, your house is lovely, it's nicely laid out, however, it is old, and it appears to me that there's a damp problem. There's definitely tiles missing off the roof, the 3rd bedroom's leaking, your stove doesn't work, there's floors are lifting, so there's a lot of work to be done. Therefore, I am going to value it lower, because there needs to be repairs just to bring it up to normal Ferndale. Now, if the guy's just remodeled his kitchen and bathrooms in Ferndale, he's going to tell you, hey, I've just spent 500,000 on remodeling the kitchen and bathrooms. Now I want 500,000 and more than the average in Ferndale. Doesn't work like that. Why? Because houses in Ferndale have got neat and tidy kitchens and bathrooms. Having a new one doesn't actually change it. Why? Because the first thing you do when you walk in and you bring your new bride in, she's going to go, oh, the kitchen's hideous. I hate the colors. What? I've just spent 50 grand on it. No, I don't like purple. So the color only appeals to certain people. So be careful of remodeling. When people say, but I've revamped, it's worth much more than Cully's house down the road. Cully didn't revamp the kitchen like I did. And I always say to the guy, well, every house has got a serviceable kitchen and bathrooms. And it's the only time that they make a difference in price is when they reduce the price, to be honest. Because a wonderful kitchen doesn't push the price up. It just makes the value of the house probably correct at that value. So just try and stay with me. It's just rambling, right? But that's why we go into the house. Now, the other reason you go into the house is to form this relationship with the seller. So what are you going to do with this cat now? You're going to say to him, hey, listen, Mr. Smith, this is a nice house. I can sell this house. I like this house, and I can sell it. I know it needs work, but there are buyers out there that want to do work, and it's fantastic. Now, I understand one thing, Mr. Smith, I'm going to give you a value. And the value is where I believe the market will see this house. It's not the value you're going to get, probably. Why? Because I don't buy the house. A buyer buys the house, and doesn't matter if we find a buyer even to agree with you and I. That buyer has to still consult his big friend. And who's his big friend? The bank. And the bank's going to come in here and look at this house. And if it's overpriced, they won't pay. The bank has got the money, and they won't give you a bond on an overpriced property. Okay, so what do we do, Mr. Seller? I'll give you a professional valuation. I'm asking you, what do you want for the house? You want 2 million rand. Okay, I'll note that 2 million rand. I'm going to come back to you with a professional valuation, and then we're going to work together. Because why? Mr. Seller, you and I, this line here, that line there, at the highest possible price in the shortest time with the most favorable terms and conditions. That's what I do for you. When you and I form a relationship, when you employ me as your agent, we are now a team and we work together. It's not that you want 2 million rand and don't bring me anything less. That's not the right way to do business. The right way to do business is you and I are going to market this property, and I'm going to get you the highest possible price in the shortest possible time in the best terms and conditions. You see, those three things, they don't imply price. So when the guy says, no, I want 2 million rand and don't dog my doorway, the best thing to say to him is, let me just list it. Let's agree on a listing price. Let me bring you an offer, and then you can decide if you want the offer or not. Let the market decide what the actual price is, because you and I don't know what the actual price is. You can speculate on price. I can give you a professional assessment of price, but the market will tell us what the actual price is. And if the guy's reluctant at this, if he's pushing back hard, saying, I've told you, I only want 2 million rand, don't bring me any offers lower than you, put your comment on top of this, and I'm not negotiating, then what he's telling you is, I don't want to sell my house. And then what you can say to him is, Mr. Smith, I understand what you're saying. It sounds like to me you don't actually want to sell this property, and I suggest that you call me when you do want to sell it, and I'll help you. And you walk away. And you really, really, really have to do that. If you think there's any benefit to having an overpriced property, you need to think very carefully about where your mind's at. Because there's nothing, there's no, as soon as you put an overpriced property on the market with your face on, you're telling the whole world that this Anton van der Velde doesn't understand what a property is meant to sell for in this area. We can't use him. He's a lunatic. He's got a 2-bedroom house in Fernley for 47 million rand. You know, what's wrong with that? It must be a typo. So you can't even type properly. I'll never use him as an agent. So remember, sorry, there's somebody who's got their mic on. Turn it off. Hang on a second. Thanks. It bangs in my ears. So now I've forgotten what I was going to say. Okay, well, let's just go back to this part here. Sorry. Okay, so remember that you are trying to form an alliance with the seller, and this is the reason that you want to sell mandate. You say, I'm going to work for you and with you to get you the best possible price, shortest time, at the best conditions. And that's what, and that's why we are going to form this relationship, and that's why you should appoint me. And then you're going to say to the guy, you know what? I think you should give me a sole mandate. And how does sole mandate and value correlate? And why do I bring it up now? It's part of your listing presentation. And if you don't ask for a sole mandate, I can assure you one thing, you're never going to get one. Okay. So it's very seldom that people, as you're walking out the door, say, hey, Anton, by the way, I'm going to give you a sole mandate. Hey, lekker. That doesn't work like that. You've got to ask people for things, and you've got to look at them. You say, listen, Catherine, I'd like a sole mandate to sell this house. And you stop talking and you wait for them to say no or yes. And if they say no, you go, what? Oh, sorry, why not? Do you understand that I'm going to be working for you to sell your property? Why wouldn't you let me, I need a mandate to proceed. And they better have a good reason. No, I don't give sole mandates. Well, why not? No, I just never do. Well, I don't understand why not, because I don't work without sole mandates. Sole mandates are good things at the right price. Okay, so why do you want a sole mandate? The guy says, no, I don't do sole mandates. And you can say to him, okay, let me explain to you why sole mandates are a good thing. The first thing is it precludes you and protects you from paying a double commission. Now, this is not a joke. This happens like once a month with me. I'll get an agent saying, oh, I'm taking a client through the property, but his wife's seen it before. Ooh, okay, so what does that mean? That means that the seller is now exposed to a double commission. And if the seller doesn't think it happens, you need to tell him, you are exposing yourself to a double commission if you don't have a sole mandate. Why? Because you as the seller are not in a position to keep track of everybody that's coming to your house. And if the wife comes in, you don't know when the husband goes to another broker. And it happens a lot that people meet a broker and don't like it, or don't want to deal with the broker, or better still, they don't even tell their husband they've been, and then their husband goes through it with another broker, with another agent. Okay, that's the first thing. You avoid double commissions. The other thing, I'm going to come back to this competitive platform. This is a very strong one, and I'm going to explain this to you. The other one is advertising. You say, if you give me a sole mandate, I can throw resources at it. Without a sole mandate, I have no incentive to work. This is my livelihood. This is my salary. I make a living here. I cannot spend money and time on a property if I'm not sure that I'm going to get the sale. And I will get the sale because I'm good at my job. So if you give me a sole mandate, I'll sell it. If you open up to the market, by some fluke, some other agent might get a sole mandate. We can't have that, because then I'm not going to spend. And by the way, Mr. Seller, if you do give 5 agents your property, Why would they work on it? Because they all know this is a random thing. They'll take a chance. They hopefully get a thing, but they're not going to put time and effort into it. Other thing is, we all operate from the same web portals. So I will be better at feedback. I'm better at looking after your property. I'm better at securing. I'll spend more money on resources. But by giving it to 5 agents, you're not going to 5 times the number of clients. It doesn't work like that, because most clients are buying off the web. Eh? Okay. The other thing is security. Then this is a really big one. Do you really want to open your house up to 5 agents coming and going as they please at any time they want? It's not a good idea to do that. It's not safe. Never mind the security issues in South Africa. There's this tiny little thing called COVID. Now, you don't want hundreds of people traipsing through your house, because every agent's coming with one person, perhaps. Let one agent manage the process. One agent can control everything. Your house will be looked after. Your house will be secure, and you'll be safe. It's a better deal. Okay. So let's just go straight down to this. Why? What's the difference between an open mandate and a sole mandate for the seller? So the seller is going to say to you, no, I don't believe in open sole mandates. It's open mandate. I'm going to have a couple of agents. Then you show him this picture. You say, Mr. Seller, look here. This is what happens when you open a mandate. You see, I'm on the left here. I'm property COSA. Yes, you see that? And you appointed another agent. So where's the competition? The competition is between me and the other agent to get the sale. So what does that mean? That means that I get buyer 1 and 2, and the agent gets buyer 3. Now, if buyer 1 and 2 come in under asking price, what will I do if I know there's another agent? The obvious thing is I will bring you a bad offer. I'll bring you a flaky offer. I'll bring you an offer even if I'm not sure it'll work. Why? Because I have to secure my income and I have to take a chance because you're competing with another agent. So I will present it just to be first. Yeah, take this offer. Take it. Right? That's not the right way. Because now you've got 2 agents who are competing with each other to get the first offer in and hope, Hail Mary, I hope it works. So that's what open mandates do for you. So you're creating an environment where the agents will bring any offer, even low offers, just to get an offer in on time. Okay, as opposed to a sole mandate. And what does a sole mandate do? The sole mandate works the other way around, where the seller appoints me as the agent. Now I've got 2 offers and I don't have to rush them. So I look at my 2 offers and I say, this one's low and flaky. I'm not going to present this offer. I'm going to go back to the buyer and say, listen, Mr. Buyer, that offer's low. I want you to increase your price and I want you to show me you've got the money to buy the thing. I'm going to pre-approve you. Why? Because there's no pressure on me. I know that there's no other agent scrambling around in the background trying to usurp me, trying to steal my stuff. And the second buyer, I look at my second buyer and I say, this is better, but he's not quite good enough. Listen, Mr. Second Buyer, I think that you should sell your property first, or let's put a bigger deposit down. So now I'm negotiating with the buyers and I'm not negotiating with some agent and I'm not fighting against him. And by the way, Mr. Seller, that other agent who might have the buyer is welcome to come to me. And I will present his offer through me and I will share commission with him. If that's what you want to do, you might say no, but you can do that. So you don't lose out on the buyer that you would have got from the second agent. And the competition is dropped from between inter-agent to between the buyers. So now I can say to the buyers, right, guys, I want you to put in your best offer. Why? Because at 5 o'clock today, I am presenting 3 offers. Is this your best offer? And they'll all go, ooh, tell me what are they? I'll match it and I'll go up by 5 grand. You say, sorry, I'm not allowed to tell you what they are, but put in your best offer. And make sure it's your best offer, because at 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock today, 3 offers are being presented. That is what much, if you describe that to a seller, for him to say, I'm still not giving you a sole mandate, means there's something wrong with this. He's not understanding you properly, or he's got ulterior motives. And it might well be that I have to give it to the other agent, and I really like you, but the other agent's my cousin. Cousin! Okay, my cousin, I understand that. Then give us a dual mandate. So let's narrow the field. It's a dual mandate. That means only us 2 can sell it. Then I know what's going on. We can communicate with each other properly. There will be no conflicts, and there certainly won't be any double commissions. And the winner will take all. Or we split the com 50-50, or whatever you choose as the agent. I choose always winner takes all, because in this company, marketing is better than everybody else. We always win the winner takes all. I've never lost a winner takes all one. It's unbelievable. Our systems are really good. Okay. Are there any questions about this? So this goes back to value. So the guys, the interns, the guys that are less experienced or new in an area, if I go into a brand new area, I use these same techniques. Why? Because I'm a little bit unsure of myself in a new area, but I don't need to be. Why? Because I'm a professional agent and I know more than you every single time. I'm talking about the sellers. Why? Because it doesn't matter how educated they are. I don't care if they're a doctor in building science. They know nothing about the marketing of properties as we do. We are professionals at it. Our systems are built for it. You must understand that the property codes information systems, Navigator, Treasure Map, and the LMS systems cost in excess of 2 million rand to build. There's nobody in South Africa who's an individual property seller can do better than a system like that. They're dreaming. They think they can. Yeah, for sale by owner. I'm not using an agent. Yeah, good luck. Okay, well, see, I like those guys because they, after about a week or two of crazies walking through their house and promising them stuff, they start going, maybe I do need an agent. Okay, so have confidence in yourselves. The confidence in the value is not important because you're not declining, you're not, so let me put it this way. Okay, so the guy says, you can come and look at my house, but I want 2 million rand, put your com on top, I'm not expecting anything. He says, okay, I'll come and look. So you walk around, you take your CMA, you do a CMA on the table, you say, look, this is for sale, that's sold, that's sold, that's sold, that's the prices. Here's property 24, that's for sale, for sale, for sale. What has sold is all under 2 million rand. What is on the market is for 2.1 million rand. You asking me to go to market at 2.5 million rand. It doesn't correlate with reality. There's nothing in this house that shows me it's 500 rand more, it's worth 500,000 and more. But this is what I think we should do. My value is 1.8, and I'm going to send it to you in writing. But I don't mind if we go to the market at 2 or 2.1. Because whatever you want, and let the market decide, because ultimately the market is the person who decides. So he's going to say, no, then go to market at 2.5. You say, okay, we'll do that. Let's do that for a week. And we'll immediately have a response. We'll draw down the data from private property and from our system, the CMA system. It'll give you the actual data of how many people have viewed the property and how many have contacted me. And it'll tell you very clearly, very fast, if your property is worth what you think it is. And a week later, you say, fantastic news, we've had 382 people view your property. He's going to go, wow, that's fantastic. In 1 week. Yeah. And how many people called you? No, none. What? Yes, 0, because 382 people agree that this property is overpriced and they're not interested in it at that price. What I suggest you do is drop it to 2.2 and we will catch some more people. And it's going to happen again and again until you get the price down to the right price. And don't make incremental jumps like I've just done there. That's wrong. If your value is 1.8 and this is going at 2.5, and at 2.5 you get no calls, you say, I've sent you my valuation. You need to go to the market at 2. Let's drop from 2.5 to 2 million rand today and sell your house. And he'll say yes or no at that time. And if they persist, you say to him, well, I'm not doing a sole, you will never take a sole mandate at 2.5 million on a 1.8 million rand house. That's an utter waste of time. Because remember, with the sole mandate, you have committed to market, to spend time, to go crazy on this place. It's going to cost you money. You're never going to get a return on your investment. 1 minute and 58 seconds left. I've got time for 47 questions. Has anybody got a question? You see, you guys are getting smarter and smarter by the week. I'm very soon going to come to you for lectures. Right. Okay. Thanks, guys. So valuations are easy. What I suggest you do, if you're not experienced or you are nervous about a valuation, phone Linda, phone Anton, speak to your mentor, speak to somebody else, experienced agent, before you say something stupid like the wrong price. Because once you've said that price, guys never forget it. Okay. Nice, lovely to see you guys. We've had some coffee this week with some people. Thank you very much. That was fantastic. And next week we're having coffee with more people and we're buying you cake. So by next time you will, Anton's going to look like this because I'm eating cake twice a week now because I have to. Right. Have a nice day. Go and sell some houses.
Thank you. Thank you. Sell some houses.
Do it, Malcolm, go.
Yeah.